In today's video, we are talking about trades jobs that pays more than a doctor, that will pay more than a doctor in the future. The idea that you need a medical degree to earn six figures is becoming outdated. In Canada, we have jobs in the trade. What are these trades jobs? We mean these jobs that do not necessarily need a degree. You can either apprentice the jobs or simply need a vocational training. Why do we say that these jobs are going to pay more than a doctor in the future? Half of the workforce in these jobs is over 45 years of age, with 100,000 to 150 trade people retiring by 2030, which is just 4 years away. That means by 2030, 10 provinces and 3 territories we have be leaving about 439,000 unfilled job vacancies. And the companies will be desperate for skilled workers, and they'll be willing to pay top dollar in order to get that person. The good thing about these trades jobs, they cannot be outsourced. In programming, you can have a programmer based in India programming for an American company. You cannot have a nuclear plant operator based in India. The first job we are going to look at, which you don't necessarily need a degree, but it will pay as much as a doctor, is nuclear plant reactor operator. This one controls the system that generates nuclear power. And the person monitors the gauges, the controls, following strict safety protocols. A single mistake has serious consequences. On-the-job training for as little as 12 to 18 months. You have to be licensed through the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. You don't need a degree to be a nuclear power reactor operator. This job carries great responsibility with it. You have to be someone of sober habits to do this job successfully. This is only requires a training of up to 12 to 18 months, and in most cases after high school, and pay you as much as a doctor. You also have elevator and escalator install. These are the people who install new elevators and escalators. They install the moving walkways in the airports. For those who are familiar at the airport, it's an escalator which is horizontal. You step on it, makes you move faster. And they also repair them to keep them safe. And this requires a 4-year apprenticeship. The advantage of an apprenticeship, you start making money from day one. As you are listed for an apprenticeship, you'll be making a good amount of money, a living salary, before you actually qualified for that job, before you actually graduate in that apprenticeship. Then you become a fully qualified mechanic, and then you now start making the top dollar. The next one we are going to look at is the radiation therapist. They work along with the doctors. They treat cancer patients. They use targeted radiation equipment and monitor patients during the treatment. You can make over 150,000. It involves less than 2 years of training at a community college. The next one we are going to look at is power plant operator. You are operating a plant. You control the machinery that generates electricity for the entire community, for the whole city. And of course, there will be many of you. You won't be the only one at that plant. There will be many of you, and it will be specified in a certain area. I don't know much about the job, but I know that there are some specialization involved. And as you do a vocational program on the job training, you can make very good money. There will be some exams and some certification from the power authorities, but mostly it will be on the job training. Then the next one, we are looking at construction manager. This one, a degree in civil engineering will be required. With this job, it entails coordinating workers, managing budgets for a given project, and you also have to ensure that project stays on course, on schedule, because it's like building an apartment building. I'll sit down with a construction company and I'll tell them I need my apartment to be available by the end of June. Then they will do all the quantitative surveying and all the costing and making sure that it's feasible. They will come to me and say that, yes, we can have you an apartment available June, and this is how much we are charging you. We are charging you 25 million to complete this apartment building. It's a 10-story apartment building. Then they get job. This construction manager is tasked with the duty that, one, it stays on course to be done by the end of that period which I agreed with the company, and at the same time it stays within the budget of 25 million. Themselves, they might be building, say, after the material and the labor and everything, maybe 15 million, so that the company gets to make a profit of 10 million. As a manager, your task is to make sure that it stays within the budget of that 15 million your company doesn't want to exceed. In some cases, it might now exceed by 2-3 million, which means the company takes a hit of 3 million and then gets only to pocket 7 million. This one, you need to get some civil engineering degree, but civil engineering degree, it's only 4 years. You don't stay in school as much as a doctor, and you don't accumulate debts like a doctor for up to $250,000, $300,000. No. The next one we are going to look at is commercial diver. A commercial diver is an underwater work on construction project, offshore rigs, ship repairs, and underwater work. You inspect the structures. There are certain bridges. We have one here in Canada, which is in the east, which was built for miles and miles. This requires divers to go underwater and then dig underwater. You have some work done under the water, some weldings done under the water, and make sure that the structures, they are firm, the bridge won't collapse. Also, we have ships. Ships don't go to repair shops like our cars, though. If my car gives a problem, I have to drive it to a repair shop, and the repair shop will look at it and say, oh yeah, you need this and that, and then it will give you a loaner to take yourself to your workplace. The ships, they stay in the water. They stay at the ship. And for the repairs to be done, there have to be some divers who go over there. And so in this case, you have to be an underwater commercial diver. At the same time, you have to have some mechanical experience. In most of the cases, this is done on the job training. You don't have to go to some college, then train at the college, and then come back with a theoretical concept and abstract concept, and then start trying to do the job. No, you dive into the job head first, right from the beginning. Also, there is underwater welders. This is a very paying job, but at the same time, it's dangerous. In most cases, they want you to be within a certain age bracket. I understand between 25 and 35 to hire you. They don't want you to do it for more than 10 years. You go there when you are 25. At 35, you have to quit. But they do pay you very well, about $500,000 a year American dollars. But it's dangerous. Some of the people die to be in the water, and you'll be working at the oil rigs, and you are welding next to highly flammable substances. But there are also risks involved. There are cancer and other illnesses that can be associated with the substances and the processes and procedures you'll be subjected to. The next one we are looking at is dental hygienist. This requires some community college, certain vocational. I know some training centers whereby you do it like a 1 year, 6 months in class, and then 6 months at their practice clinic, whereby people will go there, pay a small amount to have their teeth cleaned. You pay far less than what you would pay at a dentist. And this job entails examining patients for oral diseases, providing preventative dental care. You'll be under the supervision of a dentist. There will be only one dentist walking from one patient to the other, monitoring that dental hygienist are doing their job correctly. Of course, they would have completed in-class training, and now they are doing the practical under the supervision of a dentist. This is within a year or so, you can be qualified, and this is a great opportunity, a great job, pays. We are going through jobs that pays almost equivalent to a doctor, but do not require a decade of schooling. Please, we ask you a favor though. Hit the subscription button. It doesn't cost you anything. We'll bring you good information. The subscription doesn't cost you anything. We thank you very much for subscribing to this channel. The next one we are looking at is aircraft mechanic. What does an aircraft mechanic do? Inspecting, maintaining, repair airplanes, helicopters to keep them safe for flights. This requires some community college. I know the community college which is in this city offers like a 2-year degree, and also there will be some certification required by the aviation authorities. Once you finish and then you get a job with the airlines, we are going through jobs that can pay as much as a doctor, but don't need a doctor's degree. You don't need a decade in school. The next one we are looking at is electrical power line installer. With this one, you are working with the high voltage lines that delivers electricity from power lines to homes and businesses. This requires a 4-year apprenticeship. This is electrical power line installer. You have to be careful because you are working with the high voltage. A single mistake can kill you. It involves being outside in the field. It involves climbing these electrical poles. You need not to be afraid of heights. The next one we are looking at diagnostic medical sonographer. This requires operating ultrasound equipment to create images of internal organs, tissues, and blood flow. With this one, you require a 2-year community college degree. We can call it an associate degree. You require 2 years of community college to be a diagnostic medical sonographer. The next one we are looking at is HVAC technician. It is about installing, maintaining, and repairing heating systems. HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems technician. That's your job title. You go in homes, in business, and industrial facilities. For this requires some vocational or apprenticeship. Sometimes you do 6 months at some vocational training school, then you'll be attached to a company. You go like on a co-op or attachment, industrial attachment, and then for another 6 months, and then you are now qualified to install, and then you look for a job with a company and you are on your own. In most cases, these people work as individuals. They come to your house on his own, without anybody, unless he's under supervision, unless he's under training. He has someone who is monitoring him to make sure that there is no room for error. The good thing about these jobs, which I'm going through, they cannot be outsourced, because here in the Western world we have a lot of jobs which are being outsourced, right? Like I mentioned, programmers, even banking, certain operations are being outsourced in other countries. They take them to cheaper third world countries where they'll pay the person less. But with these jobs, you can't outsource an electrical power line installer, because the person has to be there climbing the poles, installing the wire. You can't outsource a diagnostic medical sonographer. The person has to be in a hospital with the patient. You can't outsource a ventilation and air conditioning systems technician. The person has to go to the home of your customer to install the air conditioner. He cannot be in India. He cannot be in China. He cannot be in Cambodia. He cannot be in Vietnam, where these jobs are being outsourced. But with things like making clothes, they're being outsourced there. Even other computer engineering, some of these jobs are being outsourced. But with these jobs which I'm going through here, they cannot be outsourced. The next one we're looking at is a plumber installs pipes that carry water and gas, natural gas, to residential and commercial buildings. I said again, you can't outsource a plumber. A plumber cannot be in Vietnam. A plumber cannot be in Sri Lanka. Why do I mention that? It's because this guarantees job security. Now, the bottom line, there is a myth out there that to earn a top dollar, you need to have a college degree or you need to go to medical school. That's a myth. The fact is the aforementioned jobs can earn you a six-figure salary without necessarily going to any university, without necessarily having a college degree. We thank you for watching. As I always say, crush the subscription button.